Welcome to Inside the Firm, a podcast dedicated to small business owners and hosted by entrepreneurs, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko. Each week, they take you on their journey of how to start, run, and grow a business by bringing you inside their architecture and real estate development firm. Get a behind-the-scenes tour of how these business leaders manage their clients and foster company culture while creating new and innovative projects. And now your hosts, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko.
Welcome to Inside the Firm with your host, Al Gore. I'm here with your co-host, Lance Cayko.
Yeah, I am here. That is correct. I thought I had something earlier in the week that I was it was gonna be a Lance the something blah blah blah.
Carpenter, Gypcrete layer. That's me.
Something like that.
You can call me Al, the Gypcrete layer, Gore.
Yeah,
that's all right.
I was doing Al things.
Just got done with Gypcrete. It was great. They showed up.
They showed up.
End of statement. Oh. Let's talk about supply and stuff like that. Put that in the show notes to talk about the
supply. Just put supply down.
Yep,
I'm putting it down.
So I was there at 7 because I needed to make some field adjustments to the framing, and they dropped off their sand at 7:30. They didn't say they were going to be there till 8:30, and the whole crew was there at 7:45.
Excuse me.
And I was very impressed. They were done in 2 hours. Takes 2 hours to secure. Radiant floor on its way. So
it's exciting.
But if you're not to that stage where you're constructing something and you're designing something and you want to learn Revit, RevitRocketship.com. We train you how to learn Revit so that you know how to do it, keeping construction in mind. You have our template, our system that we've taught thousands of people, RevitRocketship.com.
Yeah, and do you know, Al, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you can believe it. We only have 1 quarter left. 1 business quarter left. 90 days in the longest year ever, but it's not too late to meet your goal of increasing your firm's productivity this year. That's right. ArcCat has the tools any size firm needs to compete, whether it's using ArcCat's powerful search engine to find product data, downloading high-quality specifications, getting the right BIM for your model, or using the patented spec wizard to configure a specification in minutes. Best of all, it's free to use and requires no registration. So check out arccat.com. That's ARCAT.com today.
Last but not least, go to Dell.com/inside the firm. If you're buying a Dell product, there you can put in your email address, save an additional percentage more than you'd get anywhere else. Just for being an Inside the Firm listener, it helps support us. So we're helping support you. Dell.com/inside the firm. So before we go get into it, Lance, I have some news. So Lindsay, who co-hosts and does episodes on our Monday morning podcast, good friend of the show for a long time, friend of us for a long time, she will be on the panel for a virtual seminar, and it's coming up October 9th. So that's pretty soon. It's UK Construction Week. So go there. Listen to that. This is called BIM Around the World. What's interesting about what they're doing in the UK is that, their government mandated that all government projects be done in BIM. And now their private sector is following suit, even the residential sector. Mm-hmm. So they're doing a lot of Revit, a lot of things like that. Go check it out. There's a bunch of people on that panel. I'll put it in the show notes. October 9th, 1400. If they're doing military time, that's 2:00. But they might be doing world time. There might be such a thing as world time. Anyways, if you go to the link that I'll have on the show notes, or if you have any ability to Google UK Construction Week and find BIM Around the World, I'm sure that you can find it.
If any of you are following me on LinkedIn, I also shared that post, so go check it out there.
Cool.
You'll make it happen. Al, tell us about Al the contractor kicking butt this week.
Well, we had a rough framing inspection.
It was framing inspection.
Rough. So we had the inspector there for some other items because the structural engineer did the rough framing inspection, and he was upset that the structural engineer did it, and just grumpy out of the gate, just extremely upset with us. And then we had the pipes lay down for radiant, and he's like, I don't want to walk over these. What are these doing here? And I go, well, I thought we'd get them inspected before we cover them up because that'd be a huge hassle to do that. So he didn't say anything about that. But then, he's like, we need to see this because people always miss squash blocks. They always miss tie downs for the roof. They always miss anchor bolts. So I'm going to have to look over this. So he looks over to where the squash blocks should be, because you trace the loads, and then goes down into the crawl space, and they're all there because we're good builders. Then looks for all the hold downs. They're all there. All the anchor bolts are there. There could be one closer to the back door. So by the time he was done with his inspection, he totally turned and was now happy and now exciting. What was cool though was the structural engineer was coming over for another item and just happened to be there at the same time. And I think that honestly helped because it's harder to talk crap in front, about anyone, an architect, a construction engineer, when they're in there in the room, because they can probably refute you because they probably do know what they're talking about, right? And they might actually know more than you. Who do you know? Who you're up against too. So that coincidence, I believed, helped, but also just doing good, solid construction practices, because I know that building's framed well. I've been into plenty of buildings that are framed terribly, and we do a good job. So we flipped a building inspector to be on our side just by doing a good, thorough job. So
here's I think the lesson is, and maybe it's a little bit of role play, but like pretend I'm the building inspector.
Yes.
Right? And well, why is all this happening? He comes on site like that.
Yeah.
What's your reaction? Like what should, if you're a builder and you have you're building, you are a good builder.
Yep.
You have a good frame, you have a great framing crew, and that all your subs are doing the right thing, and you're ready for the inspection.
Yeah.
We even had one of my stepsons clean up the site.
Yep.
So it was nice and clean for them. What do you do? What is the proper reaction to a grumpy building inspector?
I've done both.
Exactly.
I've escalated. That got me nowhere. That got me pulling down all the insulation to relook at the framing. And then I've gone to, totally understand. I see where you're coming from. Let's look at all these items. And then we did. And then pointed even out where those common things that would be missed. So, hey, here are the columns. Should be squash blocks under all the columns. Just help and be like, I understand. And then just like matter of fact, like, why is this like this? Just tell them, oh, this is like this. Just be open and honest.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm not saying it's always going to work out, but I think that's the.
And here's one thing I'd like to point out too is when you do these rough inspections, actually when you do any inspection, but when you get to these milestone inspections, and I would count rough inspection as a milestone inspection, because if you're doing it right, then they're going to look at all the guts of the building, all of the before you cover it up, right? So when there's a milestone inspection, what I've found is that you should be mentally prepared for maybe there's one or two things that need cinching up, and that's okay. And what you should be looking to do is you should say, hey, no problem, we'll take care of that. I'll jump right on it. And would it be okay if I just take a photo of the solution and then send you an email? If you can get that kind of working relationship going with the building officials, that's where you want to be. One of the ones, so I just passed finals on the barn dominium I keep talking about that we're building in Boulder County, in the middle of the county. And the thing that we missed was, and honestly, we just missed it. I was like, oh, shoot, we did miss that, was there was some fire caulking that we needed to add around the penetrations going through the 2-hour firewall. That was exactly my approach, is I said, no problem, I'll jump right on it. And then we did. And then I'm telling you, jumping right on it and sticking to that is not typical in construction. It is not typical for the construction professionals at whatever scale they are, higher or lower as far as their professionalism, to just do that, to literally stick to, yeah, we're going to take care of it. I'll have it to you by 5, and literally have it done by 5. I'm convinced now, after doing enough building that we've been doing in the past couple of years, that they don't deal with people that are prompt and stick to their word. It is an issue with subcontractors, particularly.
Yeah.
Saying, our painter, for instance, good painter, he does a He does an excellent job. He didn't charge us any extra money for the barndominium project. Clients are very happy. Owners are very happy. But he said it was going to take 2 weeks. It took 4 weeks. Like, the punctuality is difficult.
Yep. Same thing happened. In the attic, there was a receptacle outlet that was facing up. And he said, well, put it, because blown in insulation can't get on it.
Yeah.
Take it off, move it back, put it up. Take a picture of it, put it in your files for final so that we can see that it was done. Gonna do it.
And be done with it.
Yep.
Exactly. All right. But Al is kicking butt, man. He's going to maybe build this. If everything would have went exactly perfect, you would have built this in 5 months. But
I still might. But everything would have to go great.
And which maybe we can how about this? Instead of, we're going to skip ahead here then. And I'll move my thing to the end, would be, how much do supplies come into play right now, Alex? Fill us in on that, because you've been seeing it too, and I've been seeing it too. Like appliances, just so everybody knows, you can't get an appliance right now until January. Can't do it. New fridge, can't do it.
Kohler, Bath, they're running out of stock, and they shut down their plant.
Kohler? I thought you said Geldwin did. Geldwin did too.
No. So Geldwin, which is windows, they had to shut down their plant because smoke got in their system, and they were filling the gaps of the window panes, and there was smoke in them. So they had to shut down the plant, clean everything, make everything awesome and perfect again. Framing has gone up 25 to 50%. Roofing has gone up 25%. Supplies are tight, and it's everything from COVID delays to fire delays, shipping, to still a lot of demand too. So, man, if you're building now and you haven't locked in your stuff and you budgeted a couple months ago, you're in a tough situation.
You are in a tough situation. And I think what Alex was saying to me earlier was, I need to have a higher contingency next time. Like, yep, I know. So just so everybody knows, my rule of thumb has been 10%, and I have been burning it up. You always have your unknowns. I think no matter what, if you have a contingency, you're going to burn up between 0 and 5%. But now, why it's so important to have that extra 5% in contingency in your budgets is because of these escalating prices. It's just, you have no control over it at all. Like the lumber prices, like Alex is saying, everything it's just going up, and it's not even inflation anymore. It's literally a supply and demand issue.
Yep.
So be aware of that stuff. All right. Segment I wanted to bring up is, first of all, I want to thank any pretentious designer, architect, anybody. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for having a bad attitude.
Yeah, but we're not talking about Nick Renard. We're not talking about Nick
Renard. I would
Renard.
not talk about a national treasure like that.
Yes.
I want to thank you for having that terrible attitude, so that then people who don't have bad attitudes and are friendly and doesn't think it's only their idea that matters, because people like us come in and we take that work. We take that work because people seek us out because they know we are not those architects. So you got into a discussion online about this, and I just wanted to make it very, very clear about, I'm not the only person that thinks about this, right? So there's an Arc Daily article the title is called 8 Annoying Things All Architects Do. It was published years ago. So it was published like August 21st, 2017. And so it lists out 8 different things that I have seen forever in architects.
Can you go over them? Can you go over them?
Absolutely. So number 1, the architect thinks everything is architecture.
Yeah.
Okay? Architects somehow find a way to connect everything to architecture. I used to do this. I know Alex.
No, I hated it.
Did you hate it?
I hated it.
You didn't do it?
In college.
In college?
Because someone asked a professor, where does architecture stop and where does it begin? And he's like, actually, it goes everywhere.
I was like,
no,
nonsense.
No.
It's nonsense. It's not. That's nonsense talk. All right, so Alex didn't do it. I did, though. I bought into that. So they truly believe that every problem our world faces today, from climate change to the refugee crisis, is a result of past architectural decisions, that the architecture alone is the means to solve these problems. They can't solve the debt. However, they can't solve maybe you could, the coronavirus, social distancing. However, that is not the most annoying part. Everyone's
Buildings hit people away if you get too close.
Yeah. The thing that ruffles feathers is that architects will debate endlessly and won't rest until everyone agrees with them. Though the reason why it bugs me this kind of thinking, and I think then if it bugs me and I'm an architect, the general population also would agree that the world does not revolve around you. What a self-centric way to think, right? And isn't the purpose, one of our main purposes, to serve other people, right? So we can't serve other people if we're self-centric. So take that for what it's worth. Number 2, the architect knows everything. If anybody follows me online, if they are my personal friend on Facebook, they'll be like, oh yeah, Lance, that's probably you. Yeah, I think I'm right most of the time. I do. But I don't push that on my clients. That's the difference, right? I think I'm right about politics most of the time. That's where it comes down. But like when it comes down to my clients, like I'm not going to push my idea on them if I get enough pushback to where I know like, oh, I am not serving you. I'm not serving your initial thoughts and processes, right? Number 3, what does the architect mean to say? So this one I'll expand a little bit upon is from their article. If there were an award for communicating the simplest of ideas in the most convoluted way possible, an architect would win hands down. Architects have, over time, mastered the skill of injecting fancy-sounding words, ArchiSpeak, not the podcast.
No, but it's funny because Evan and them on Twitter were asking, what are your favorite ArchiSpeak words? The most ridiculous ones.
Think fenestration, pitashi, or juxtaposition into regular conversation.
What's pitashi?
I have no, but let me look it up. Pistachio? That's an interesting word. A juxtaposition into regular conversation while enjoying the labyrinth sentence structures, much to the disgust of their friends and partners. Members of an architect's innermost circle also know better than to ask her what words like space, concept, or architecture mean, unless they want to bore themselves to death. So maybe drop all the ArchiSpeak. Right, because think about how intimidating you probably sound to a potential client who has maybe never worked with an architect. That's another thing too. Like, how many of you are out there when you go to a sales meeting? Ask, have you ever worked with an architect before? Very critical. Very critical. Number 4, the architect likes his coffee with a hint of snobbery.
Go.
Architects have, through their days at architecture school, established a unique emotional relationship with coffee. They invariably have strong preferences either about the kind of beans used, the way the drink is brewed, or the mix, and they won't shy away from declining coffee that isn't exactly how they like theirs. Number 5, the architect can always do better. Architects are trained to strive for more. Their jurors told them something was missing even when their designs were extraordinary. This manifests as obsessive perfectionism in everything that they set their minds to. Simple tasks such as picking out a New Year's card for their parents or selecting a font for their resume can take them hours. Architects are also overly critical of other people and can easily find a fault in everything, from the way you use your toothbrush to something as universally acclaimed as Adele's music. Adele isn't even relevant anymore.
No. She's so good.
Number 6, the architect fangirls/fanboys over famous architects like Al Gore.
Yeah.
The advent of social media platforms such as Instagram and Twitter have resulted in a slew of architects that have a fan following in the architecture world similar to that of movie stars. Architects, especially younger ones, can be spotted in Bjarke Ingels' get-ups at costume parties, quoting words from his speeches and saying things like, "Isn't he the cutest?" Meanwhile, their non-architect friends who are dressed as Katniss Everdeen, or who is Katniss Everdeen? Or Luke
the bow and arrow lady.
Al knows, see? Pop culture Al.
Yeah.
Are left bewildered as they speak through clenched teeth. I know he's your laptop screensaver, but I have no idea who he is. And for the 20th time, I don't care. Number 7, the architect loves everything about the city. Al City Gore, that's what I call him.
No, that's very, very true. Not me, but if you are coming out of architecture school for your first 5 years, it's all city, no suburbs.
Yep, and Al is actually, if you listen to maybe 4 episodes ago, Al the Simple Country Architect.
Simple Country Architect.
That's exactly what he is now, right? And see how this Al the Simple, don't forget about that episode, Al the Simple Country Architect, I can't remember which one it is, which number it is, but if you go listen to it again, what did Al the Simple Country Architect do? He didn't look like a porcupine to the city. He was just a friendly little cuddly bear and they wanted to work with him.
Let's hug in the embrace of good architectural design.
Yeah. Number 8, last one. The architect never sleeps. Architects love to talk about how much sleep they've not gotten. And you know what?
That's me.
This is yeah, but you have babies. Al has babies, so he doesn't sleep right now. Me, all my kids are. My youngest child is 11. I am sleeping like a freaking baby.
Good for you. Well, a baby that's not TV.
Yeah, exactly. So, my point about this point is, where I think this actually could hurt you with, where I've seen it hurt architects still as business owners is, what are you doing working all crazy hours of the night and then not ever having a nice clean cutoff of, now it's my time. Now it's time for me and my family. Now it's time for me to recharge, right? I contend, as I'm sitting in what I would consider a very modern
Mediocre.
and potentially award-winning building that we designed, built, and developed, even though we worked, if you go back and listen to episodes, like 80 days, I worked like 80 days in a row. That was a different circumstance. We didn't work like that doing the architecture. And so even now, like I have all my weekends are free. All the guys and gals that work for us, all their weekends are free, and they can recharge, and they can come back, and they can do stuff. So if you take it for what it's worth, this segment, but I'm telling you, like those 8 things that we just went through. Yes, I think when you come out of school, I think even there's still people that are plenty out of school. Those 8 things are real, and I don't think they help you as a business owner. I do not think that the general public is racing to architects to have to deal with those 8 points. That's what I got.
All right. Is that all you got?
That's all I got. There's no Nick from Nick Reeds. I don't know what he's doing with his life. Oh, I know what it is.
Yelling at clients.
Well,
I'm just kidding. He's a great architect, but I will still make fun of him.
He is, if you listened to last week's episode, probably out there doing maskless living in Florida because they are opened up.
Nick in the wild. See if you can spot a Renard in the wild. Take a picture of him. Send it to us.
So with that, we're going to bring down the crew for A.R.E. Jeopardy. All right, we're back. And a special announcement. Just want to give a shout out to Mark Pedler, who passed his last architectural exam test 2 days ago. Was it 2 days ago or yesterday? 2 days ago. He is now graduated. Then, in addition to soon to be a licensed architect, he will be the tiebreaker question every single time on the podcast. Okay, number 1. What is the pressure in pounds per square inch that wastewater lines are tested at during rough inspections? A, 4 psi. B, 5 psi. C, 7.5 psi. D, 10 psi. What do we have? Here we go. We've got B. Tyler's writing B, C. The correct answer is B, 5 psi. Number 2, what is the pressure in pounds per square inch that gas lines are tested at during rough inspections? A, 4 psi. B, 5 psi. C, 7.5 psi. D, 10 psi. If you get the wrong answer, you blow somebody up.
Whoa. Don't do that.
First answer is B. D. And B, the correct answer is D. 10 psi.
Double.
Al Gore.
Double. It's a way to remember it. 5 and 10. What site elements can be attributed to the microclimate of a site? So what elements? A, plants. B, water. C, wind. D, ground surface coverage. Or E, all of the above.
Pretty quiet. Real quiet, Al.
All right. We have E, which is all of the above, or you said C, which was wind. I didn't write these, but I'm going to say E, all of the
Correct
above.
answer is E.
Yep. So all the plants, the water, the wind, and the ground surface coverage all attributed to microclimate. You could have pavement versus concrete versus different things that make it hotter or colder. Question 4. What building spaces are sometimes allowed to fall outside of zoning height restriction? Okay, what spaces can fall outside zoning height restrictions? A, penthouses. B, fan rooms. C, storage rooms. D, A and B. E, all of the above. I really like that. Mark, did you get questions like that? Where you got either those two or all the aboves, or you could pick one? Definitely. All right, he said that.
What were the last two?
D is A and B. E is all of the above.
What do we got?
We got D and storage.
Correct answer is D.
The correct answer is D, A
Yep.
and B.
A and B.
Look at that. Okay, how many? Three. So we have a tiebreaker. Mark
Mark
Pedler,
Pedler.
come on down. Woo! Tiebreaker. So Mark will read it. The first person to write the correct answer and show it to me will win. Mark, go ahead.
Ready?
Okay, yep, get up close.
Okay. What letter designation of copper pipe has the thickest walls and is used in underground supply?
C, incorrect. So before you can go again, the other two get to guess. It could be, it's a letter. So it's 1 of 27. What? Oh. Okay. If they go two back and forth and if you knew it. E. Nope, not E. Not A. Someone guess. F. Nope. B. U. Nope.
X.
Nope.
W.
R.
U.
Okay. Can you give them a hint? No. Okay.
Is there a backup tiebreaker? Is it L?
Okay. There are. It's
Okay.
between.
4 types.
Yeah, 4 types.
So which of these 4 types? So read the 4 different letters, and then it's the first to hold it up. Besides Rebecca.
There's type K, type L, type M, and DWV.
K is correct.
K is correct.
Type K.
K is correct. Who won this?
There we go.
Jason.
Jason won, and he won because he took our course, RevitRocketship.com. Has nothing to do with these questions, but it makes you smarter naturally.
Absolutely.
Go to RevitRocketship.com.
There you go. All right, that's all we got. See you next week.